Hi, come on in. I'm Jan Atkinson, and I am thrilled to have you come to my home, learn a little bit about me for my readers, and find out what's in store in the future. So come on in. My life is an extension of me. I'm an attorney, I'm a huge sports fan, and I'm a grandma to a 2.5-year-old named Victor, who's gotten to know the Tactibbarlemacs very well. I live my life upstairs as professional Jan, and I live downstairs in the Girl Cave, Sports Zone, and Kids Zone. As you can see, I have a lot of art in my house. When my husband was alive, we fell in love with an artist named Jean-Claude Gaugy, and we could not afford his art. And we would look at that and go, oh, it's beautiful. Well, when Colin died, my business associate and I were in Albuquerque, and I dragged him to Santa Fe to an art gallery of Gaugy. And this woman came up and said, do you know anything about this artwork? And I said, oh my gosh, I love it. I've looked at it for years. Meanwhile, behind her that I did not realize was this gentleman that was taking all the art and lining them up on a table. And I looked at the art and I hemmed and hawed, and I said, I love this. And she said, my husband painted it. I go, oh my gosh, that's really cool. And she said, and this is my son that's been bringing all the artwork here. And the picture they bought was the girl. And the girl is me, and she transcends everything I do. There's the girl, the white side, the honest side, who you want to be in front of your friends, or who you should be. And then there's the dark side. There's the shy side, the devil, the improper. I am a combination of my girl, and I think you will learn that as we go around my house. I probably should introduce you to one of my favorite friends. This is Mr. Edgar Allan Poe. So Eddie Poe is my big sports fan and is actually a character in one of my books. So let's go down and learn more about Baltimore. Welcome to the Girl Cave. Welcome to Maryland sports activity, and to Nana's little house and playground for Victor. In talking about Baltimore, you talk about sports. In talking about Atkinson's, you talk about sports. They go hand in hand. When I was a kid, I didn't have birthday parties with frilly skirts and pin the tail on the donkey. My dad took my girlfriends and me to Oriole baseball games. And because it was our birthday, they had the patience to go out after the game and to stand in the parking lot and wait for our favorite players to come out and get autographs. So I have grown up loving the Orioles and still work on getting their autographs. Walking down further, you can see Maryland basketball. That's my love. Testudo the turtle. And then we have a little bit of Eddie Playground, but Gary Williams and Juwan Dixon after Maryland won the NCAA championship in 2002. And then turning around, we have my Baltimore Colts, Johnny Unitas, good arm Johnny. The NFL was abusive to Baltimore fans. They didn't like us, but Cleveland didn't treat their team very nicely. And the next thing you knew, we had a team in Baltimore, the Baltimore Ravens. And we had phenomenal guys that are on the Super Bowl picture with Ray Lewis, Lamar Jackson, Justin Tucker, a wonderful, wonderful team of players. This is my sports zone where we come and celebrate with several meetup people the Ravens games on Sundays during the year. It's my party house. We all sit here, enjoy Ravens lore, enjoy the flock, and play a little bit of Pac-Man and Space Invaders. Hiding behind my little piece of artwork is a cherished possession, and that's the Maryland Terrapin 2002 team flag, celebrating victory of the Terps. Juggling a career now, a legal career, and writing crazy fiction, how do they interact? Well, actually, they're one and the same. It's like my girl, the white side and the dark side. And that's what writing fiction is. It's being creative. It's inventing things. Being a writer is freedom from the confines of being a lawyer. It gives you a chance to express yourself however you want. After college and through most of my life, I'd run around the streets. I wonder if you could write about a story about an animal that didn't exist and make it believable. Well, when my grandson was born, we would sit down and I would tell him stories about Tacti, the Tactibbarlemac. And over, I would tell him the story and he would laugh. And then my son and his wife's friends were illustrators. So we were sitting, having a few beers one night, talking about the kids and my book. And I said, I'd love to write this book, but I need an illustrator. Well, Chris and Leslie Jones said, we draw, we'll do pictures for your book. So they were the artists that make the whole key part of Victor and the Tactibbarlemac. A totally different genre is for grown-up women, Menopausal Killer Sharks. In the early 90s, I took a consulting contract in Cleveland in the winter and had nothing to do. And my girlfriends would call and they'd talk to me about their miserable dating and how horrible it was. And I said, well, I'm really lucky I married Colin, but he's way back in Pittsburgh. After discussions with my friends, I created 4 characters, pure fiction, and then began to write the stories that they went through. And I thought about my checklist and I reinvented it and I began to improve it. And I used all those stories in creating Menopausal Killer Sharks. And what it does is it gets women through aging. Humor has been a necessary ingredient in my whole life. I was probably one of the more unattractive kids in school. My mom had no sense of being a mom. She had no sense of how you should dress. I used to have to wear rubber boots to school when everybody else looked prim and proper. So what do you do with life when you're unhappy and you're shy? You become funny. And I became the class clown because you take things that are sad or that are embarrassing and you make them funny. Because being funny and having humor is way better than being a sad person. So here in Menopausal Killer Sharks are life stories about how hard it is to date, how hard it is to age. But instead of wallowing and being miserable that you no longer are 16 with taunt face or that your body isn't the way it was, you make it funny. You laugh at yourself. If you laugh at yourself, then you don't feel as if you're a one-off. And it's much more fun to live that way than to be depressed and unhappy. All of us have times in our life where we're sad. My husband died. I didn't have money. I didn't like my job. I was frustrated with some of my friends. Well, you take those experiences and find humor in them. And that's what I did in Menopausal Killer Sharks. I have a lot of knickknacks in my house. I'm a writer, and when I look at one of my little creatures that are there, it reminds me of a story, and they're always stories. So all my little momentums take me back out to the hidden side when I create my stories of the girls or my story of Victor and the Tactibbarlemac. And in fact, now those books are published. There's a sequel. Shark Attack, the girls are back.
It's memories of some more of my adventures that I've had that I look at around the house. Victor and the Tactibbarlemac. Victor and Tacti get on an airplane. Victor and Tacti go to the beach. All those things that I look at my trinkets and think, I wonder where that's going to take me in my next story that I'm going to write. Thank you all for coming to visit me. It's been a pleasure telling you stories of my life and letting you get to know me better. I hope now that I've intrigued you to go buy one of my books, Menopausal Killer Sharks, or Victor and the Tactibbarlemac for your 2 to 6 year old. But have a good day. I'll see you soon. Bye.